Long day lay me low. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Get to Know Your Creator. I got a great one today, but as per usual, I am Jason Bascom, Unhinged Entertainment. We're determined to get these amazing comics out, these amazing crowdfunders fulfilled, funded, and in your hands with great art, great stories. With me, as always, if her microphone is fixed, Angela Curry. It's not fixed. We can't hear you, Angela. But I'm going to bring in our guest because he's a great man, great human, he's smart, and it's intimidating. We got Will Perdomo.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Let's put you up here, Will. Yeah, what's going on, man? Now, as I said before, Angela usually reads the chat, so right now we can't hear her. I don't know if she could hear us. So, how are you doing today, man?
Oh, just trying to earn my dad time.
Yeah, that's dude. And I even DM'd you and saying, and I mean it. That's the most important thing. Like, everyone knows I'm a family first kind of guy. If there's family issues or even just spending time in general, that comes before the YouTubes and all that other stuff, and it just takes top priority because you only have so much time with your family. So especially when they're little,
they're all passed out.
That's good though. That's why you're able to do this.
I made sure to thoroughly annoy my baby so that she was begging to go in that crib.
Yeah, that's how it's done. You know, get them all riled up and stuff. They just get fed up and they want to go to sleep. So
there's a right there underneath my good friend Luke is my other good friend Jack Wade, who I've known for God Lord, damn near 16 years, an old Paramount buddy.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we're gonna say hello to the chat. Angela's back in. Can we hear you?
No, can you?
Yes, we can hear you now. Welcome.
Every week, I just try to do something different every week just to keep it interesting.
Hi, Angela.
No.
Anyway, hi, Will. Hi,
how are you?
Hey, Angela. Before we get chatting with Will and finding out why he's here, can you highlight the chat? Can we see who's there?
Sure. We have right before we started, Matt got in here. So hey there, Mr.
Matt was here like a week ago.
He's been anticipating and waiting for this stream for a week. So hail to you. And we have Luke in the house. So hail to
What's up, brother?
And we have
Jack Wade.
So
his name's Jack Wade, so I just doxed him.
Hey, I mean, I don't think he'll mind too much. You say you used to work with him, or you do work?
Oh yeah, he's a friend of mine. I talk to almost daily for 15 years.
Nice. I think he's wearing a mask, so I can't really tell and confirm what he looks like. So I think he's okay.
Yeah, he did a stint for some things we were not going to talk about, down south.
Right.
So
welcome to the stream.
He's got a rep.
Yeah,
rep. Nice. Hey, I got some friends that have reps, so to speak. But we got you here. Well, we got you here. Thank you so much for doing this, man. I know you're a busy man. You're very busy, man. And you came in. You and I have known each other for what? Ever since I got in, Couch Doodles, so like over 3 years.
2020, when we launched.
2020. I launched 2020. Were you around before then? Because I came in 2019. Okay. Yeah, because I was watching Frega and like I got to know Luke and Pedro and Plagle and all them like late 2019, like October. You know what I mean? Like pretty much now. And that's where I started following Frega because of the his Instagram going live, and then I saw he was gonna go live on YouTube. And everybody's like, Jason, why are you talking about Frega also? Well, that's how I came in. But you, my friend, you work with Frega. How did that come about? How did you manage that?
I mean, do you want me to go all the way back, or you just want to go to this replay?
Hey, we might have new people watching the replay stuff. People who don't know who you are. Yeah, let's get to the nitty gritty.
Frega is a guy who I've known longer. That the only people that come close are my mother and father and my sister. So he's been in my life for now 30 years, and I'm 41.
Wow.
So
nice.
That is like that's not even a friendship. That's like a brother.
Yeah, that's brotherhood. Yeah,
and I've talked about this before. Where it's not like hunky dory, but it's like all the bullshit that comes along with having a big brother. Mm-hmm. So you know each other on that level, where it's like,
oh, what's up?
You're a piece of shit, but I love you.
What's up, guapo?
Kind of thing.
Right.
But I met him back when I was 11 years old, and I desperately wanted to get into comics, and I was trying to find any which way we could. And back then, we had to have a little bit more ingenuity because there was no internet. There was none of this. There was no direct access. Like Josh, the art Jedi, who can talk directly to Dave Finch. Bullshit. That's not happening. The way we did it is that you, like guys like you who draw, had to go to a convention with a portfolio. Maybe you'd hit it off with a creator like Marat did with Rob and become his assistant or something.
Right.
Or if God forbid, if you're a writer, you have to keep sending 1,000 samples until somebody says you kind of don't suck.
No, and I was gonna say that's another route too with artists. Like they send in, like my brother, he would send samples over to Marvel and DC from home. He would just mail them out because he couldn't go to cons because he was too young. So yeah.
And I just kind of was looking for any way in. And when you're at that age, there's no shame in your game. You don't give a shit who you bother, who you inconvenience. You don't care. And people like Frege and like Rob Liefeld and guys like that, right? They like that you're like, I want to get in and I don't give a shit, because that's who they were. Frege was a stalker too.
Yeah, he was.
He stalked Rob Liefeld too. So what I did is I got out the phone book and I was trying to find where Jim Lee was, find his number, and trying to find all these guys. And I actually called like a couple numbers in San Diego trying to find the number. Like, hey, I'm your biggest fan. But what happened was that I was reading an issue. Weirdly enough, this lines up with Frege's. It was Bloodstrike 25. Remember when all the Image issues were doing like a 25 month?
Oh yeah. They had different artists working on the issues and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. And Frege did the finishes on that issue. Rob did the breakdowns. Frege did the finishes. And what's up, J-Bot? What's up, Matt? And so what happened was I was looking at the back of that, and like I said, I didn't know Frege then, but it was weird that he did this issue. So I looked to the back, the letter section, when comics had letter sections, and there was a guy asking how he could come check out the studio, and the reply was, "Hey, if you're cool enough, we'll let you come and do a studio tour if you give us a call." And I went, "Oh, they do that?" So I got the phone book out, looked up Extreme Studios. Or Image Comics, that they were in the same building on the same floor, at the Catella Avenue office in Anaheim. And I called, and nice young lady, I forgot her name, but she married Danny Miki, answered the phone, and I said, "Can I come? It's my birthday," which wasn't a lie. "I'd like to come visit. And I'm 11." And they're like, "Okay, go ahead." And they give me a time, and I go, "Mom, you're taking me 45 minutes.
Right.
You're driving me 45 minutes on Friday in LA traffic down to Orange County." And she's like, "Okay, I take you to Orange County. It's okay." So we go down there, and they give us a tour, and it was badass. They took us to the bullpen. They took us to Extreme Color. I mean, that was heady stuff, like just seeing your people you're reading about just working in the corner.
Oh,
right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's I mean, dude, those are the people you like, wow, right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Seeing the sausage get made.
Yeah, we didn't meet Rob because Rob was, but he had when you walked into the Catella office, there was the front desk, and then you go further back, and it's kind of like a T. So you go in, there's a waiting room, the front desk, and then further back, there's a long hallway that is the rest of the studio. That's like the side of the building. And his was this giant fishbowl that was right behind the front desk.
Oh, wow.
So you could see him working in there, be like, Rob's, he's the boss. I'm not going to bother him, but I could see Rob Liefeld working.
That's really cool. And as a kid, especially, that's like, that's like Hollywood stardom for like, regular people. For us, that's like, yeah.
Yeah, the bullpen was badass because it was like everybody was there. They were all there, and the Extreme Color was all there. And we went around in a big circle, and way in the back, Frege had his office. He got the office by Matt Hawkins. Wow. He was across the way from Matt Hawkins, but it was way in the corner of Extreme Studios by himself. And we walked by, and he's like, "Oh, this is Dan Frege." I'm like, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you, sir." And he's like, "Dan's the nicest man in the world." And at that time, he wasn't jaded by life, so he's happy to see anyone.
Wait, what year is this?
This is
early 90s.
Yeah, this is like, good Lord, this is like 1993 or something like that. 1993.
It had to be 93.
Okay. Yeah. No, 94. It had to be 94 or 95 because I was 12 or 11.
Okay. Right. I was gonna say because Image was 92 is when Image just dropped. That's when Image kind of came, because Youngblood, all of them, 92, and then later on Rob came out with everything else that was going on. So yeah.
This is right around the time when Youngblood 7 came out, when Rob came back,
Mm.
and remember he proposed to his wife in the back of the book.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it was a big time because it was kind of a relaunch of a lot of Extreme.
Right.
So I go back there, and Frega's like, "Hey guys, nice to meet you." And he's very nice and cordial, and he kind of sends us off, and we're walking, and he goes, "Wait." He catches up to me and gives me a piece of original art from that Bloodstrike 25.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Very
And when
sweet.
you're like 11, like getting a piece of art, like that's never happened.
That doesn't happen. No.
No.
That didn't happen to me ever.
Well, we got the backing board sketches. Remember, we could actually give them the backing boards to do sketches.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's different, but back then they would just do it. Now you have to pay for it.
Now you have to pay a lot of money for it. Back then, yeah, I mean they would just doodle on it, yeah, because they're artists. And
I mean, I think I have. Let me show you the page that he gave me, so you guys can see a reference for it. It was again. It's funny because it's like almost like an alchemy or a numerology kind of thing. It was this page out of Bloodstrike 25.
Oh, sweet. Yeah,
wow.
nice.
So what's cool about this is this has Rob and Frega's touch on it.
It's so cool, man.
Because he did the layouts and Frega did the finishes.
Right.
So
nice.
So he gave me that one, and then he made a fatal error, unfortunately.
He wrote his number on it?
No, he said, "Hey, go ahead and call me anytime." And I went,
"Oh, no. What's up? How are you? Good to see you, man."
You want to pass that up?
Okay, famous last words.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and this is the thing. Like, a lot of people watch it because we're streaming to Facebook, too. I might have people that, may not know a lot of this or youngins or whoever. Back then, you could easily find someone's phone number. Like, it was so easy. You just go through the phone book because they didn't have cell phones.
Well, he didn't give me his number.
No, but it's probably in the phone book.
No, but what I did was...
How did you get it? Oh, yeah.
Well, no, I just called Extreme Studios. I proceeded to call Extreme Studios, and that's why I'm saying Danny Meeky's wife made a joke at him. He's like, "It's that kid again." I was calling 3-4 times a day for months. Months.
Tenacity.
Oh, yeah, and dude, you can't do that now. No way.
No, dude, no.
Well, then you also now have Twitter. The Twitter.
Right. Well, not only that though, most people work from home too. So.
No, but Frega does not have that time. Hell no.
Right. No, I'm just saying no, I know he doesn't, but I'm just saying now a lot of people work from home. They send it in digitally or mail or whatever. But back then you were in the office, you were there, so you could call Extreme or whoever and bug people. But even now, they tell you to screw off and hang up on you.
Well, I mean, graciously, this man is 21 years old and he's talking to this kid, and being on the phone with me for sometimes an hour. What the hell are you going to talk about with me? Except me just let me pick your brain.
That, and you're a kid. Comics, you got to have a childlike mentality to work in comics because you're being constantly creative and thinking of fun, interesting ways to do things. So talking to a little kid, that's like, talking to yourself almost. You're just happen to be older in age. So you could talk for hours to a little kid if they know how to talk to an adult, that is. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I, like I said, I'm kind of an only child in the sense that my sister's 8 years removed from me. So I didn't have any older siblings, and Frega became kind of my older brother. And what ended up happening is after about I don't remember what this was, but it had to have been a big chunk of time for the next summer. He asked me, "Hey, do you want to be my intern for the summer at Extreme?"
So cool.
And dude, I flipped.
Without a doubt.
I couldn't believe it that he was asking me to come as much as I wanted for 8 hours a day at Extreme. And hello, Lord Liam. And so think about this though, how wonderful my mother is. She was like, "You're going to drive me one way 45 minutes to drop me off in Orange County, and then drive back home, and then come get me at 6 o'clock in LA traffic,
and then drive back home."
She did that for me for 2 summers.
That's awesome.
And I think she knew that I was onto something,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was enjoying myself, and it's like, hey, what else the other kids got going on at 11 or 12?
And it's right, and not only that, it's better than you hanging out with the wrong crowd, getting in trouble, or something like that. So yeah,
like my sister, yeah,
like your sister, yeah, I know, yeah, I know.
And
everyone's talking, just been laughing at the chat with Lucas saying, basically knowing you even at 11 years old, were probably able to hold cogent conversations with adults. And then Lord Liam chimes in and says, at that age, you probably knew what cogent meant. So,
Indeed, maybe.
We'll,
I don't know.
Oh yeah, we'll probably do. Yeah, but but see that dude. That's I mean, okay. Now I don't think you can get a 12-year-old intern for you. They would call
No,
it
you
slave
can't even
labor,
get past
child
the
labor.
front. No, they're all on studio
Yeah.
lots. You're not getting past
Right.
that.
But even if you could get past that, like a studio would not allow you to have a little child. Like they would be like, that's child labor laws. We can't do that. So yeah, that's pretty funny. Like back then
What
they
a
didn't
bobo.
care. They're like, hey, come on in.
Well, then also, so while I was there, so I had to clean, sweep, organize inventory, and do stuff like that. But while I was there, I was among all these. Okay, imagine all these dudes, 22 is average age. It's pretty rowdy in there,
Right.
and it was fun to be around as a little kid because you're like peeking through like the veil of the older people, like the frat party that you couldn't go to. And it was a frat party at Extreme. It was a frat party day in and day out. They were working, but it was a frat party. you know, um,
What's up, old?
and there was cool situations. Like I was there. The next summer is when the Heroes Were Born stuff happened.
Ooh.
So I was there hearing them plan that out, and Frege volunteering to go to New York to like hold the number 5 issues, I believe, hostage to Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they had to, otherwise they weren't going to pay them.
Right.
So Frege
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, Frege had to fly to Marvel offices with these discs and say, "Look, give me the cashier's check for these final issues. I go put it in the bank. Once it's cleared, I drop off the discs."
Mm-hmm.
Because it was some kind of change of management going on at Marvel, and they didn't think they were going to pay them for the last issues.
wow.
Well, I mean, from what we hear now anyway about, like, I never knew this back then either, like the way the payment method works is really janky almost, and like kind of suspect, but also just odd. It's not like a regular you work 40 hours a week, you get a paycheck at the end of the week. It ain't like that at all. Like there's artists that sometimes don't even get paid, like, or they get months without getting paid, or just it's so weird. And these are the things you never really knew about, like as a kid, or even like a couple years ago, I never knew about it. Like, it's just amazing the way the back end of things seem to work, that you can kind of be shocked by. You'd think, oh, this is comics, it's fun, like it's a monthly thing, you get paid once a month or even bi-weekly.
No, it's cutthroat, man.
It's cutthroat, dude.
I heard a lot of conversations. A lot of conversations
like,
as a little kid.
Even that right there, he had to hold hostage their stuff in order for them to get paid. Like, you did work, you should get paid. Like, that's the way it works. That's the way everything.
I'll say this: what valuable experience it gave me was this: it taught me not to idolize anyone, because everybody poops, and from then on, you're just a fucking man to me.
Right.
You do good work, but I don't give a shit who you are. So it helped me. It helped dispel being starstruck, because I was meeting all these guys, and some were assholes, some were great guys, and I could see Rob Liefeld was a human being like anyone else, and
dude, it's all personalities. It's all just different personalities. It's different energy levels, and like you have your own, and you know how you deal with like this type of personality between that type, and like you know how to handle some. Yeah, it might take a couple minutes to jive, or like to get their get how they are and stuff like that, to interact and exchange conversation, but everyone's just a human being, man. Like, like Jim Lee, that's a human being. Brad Pitt, that's a human being. Like you said, everyone poops. Like, we all do it. Like,
pants on the same way as everyone else.
Unless you only have one leg. But
either way.
Hey, friend.
If Brad Pitt's out front of your house and you're the only toilet within 30 miles, hey, man, he didn't got that much power over you.
No. Like I said, it's just different personality types, and different. Some people are more outgoing and stuff like that. But what you just said actually is true. What sucks is meeting one of them that you really like you like their skill level or their art, or they turn out to be total just douchebags.
And at that time, Rob was really cutthroat. He was a very litigious and like it was the height of his competition with those other creators, right? So he had that real like bull attitude about everything, and he was very aggressive, and
kind of have to be.
Yeah, and that's why I saw a lot of things and I heard a lot of things. Put it this way, he busted my balls for being fat as a little kid all the time. Busted my balls.
Like, yeah, but that could get you motivated into not being fat. Like, I mean, it could go two ways. It's a double-edged sword. It could, diminish you and make you feel like crap and more depressed. But it could also be like, man, screw you. You think I'm fat? I'm going to work out and not get fat. So,
I just kind of shrugged and said, all right, Rob, for the 50th time, I heard you.
right. And eventually you develop a thick skin too. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you got to, like, you pretty much just hounded your way in almost, like,
Yeah.
and then they accepted you into the fold, which is really dope. And you said like you wanted to go there at the age of 11, so you were into comics before then. Like, what were you into? Do you remember your first book?
Yes, I have it right here. It was I bought 2 books. It was Deathstroke the Terminator #5. Remember the Marv Wolfman ones with the really cool gray border covers that designed for that Assassins storyline? Yep. Remember? It was that one because it said Terminator on it, and I was like, "Oh, it's a Terminator book."
That's what I thought too when I read for something like the Terminator.
And then the trade paperback with the John Bolton painted cover of Sam Keith's and Mark Verheiden's Aliens Earth War.
Oh, nice, dude. So you got in with some odd titles then, because that's like I got in with Thor, like regular superhero stuff. You got in with some like kind of just off the wall stuff off the bat.
It was movie stuff. I was into movies,
yeah,
and I thought it was cool that they were making movie comics, and I wanted to read movie comics. And the movie adaptations they were doing were shit in the '90s. And then Dark Horse started doing them. I'm like, oh my god! Because if you remember the Mark Verheiden one, the first one, what was his name? It was the black and white ones. Oh yeah, Mark Nelson.
Of Alien?
Remember Mark Nelson, the Zippy Tone Aliens he did?
Oh yeah. I don't know the cat's name, but yeah.
Yeah, so that one, and then the Mark Wagner Terminator series that came out. Those are the ones I got into first.
Nice. Yeah, off the wall stuff, man. That's really cool, and it gets you into the indie scene where a lot of like the more, I would say, kind of more creative stuff comes about, because like, I mean, these superheroes, they've been established for decades, and like, yeah, the movie stuff that was established, but then you also have Dark Horse, who's just creating different things, and their artists and writers are just coming up with new ideas constantly. So it's you're already delving into the more like just innovative stuff out there.
Like that one, Matt LaRock. This is an iconic cover. This Mark Wagner cover.
Oh, hold on, I got
you right here. This one?
Oh yeah, without a doubt, dude. Love that.
And this is a great edition. They don't make this anymore because it passed into Marvel, but this is a Dark Horse.
Wow.
This is a beautiful edition of
it's really dope.
Concrete Jungle.
Yep, you probably have to get it on eBay or something. I like stuff like that too, though, because they usually have this like bonus stuff in the back or some like black and white stuff or making of, and that stuff's really cool to get into and look at and stuff like that. So
I love the covers. The covers are beautiful.
Well, that's the thing. Back then, the covers had to sell the book, but it also had to give you a little bit of an idea what the story was about in the interior. So it had to be amazing. Nowadays,
like that. Look at that. That is a beautiful cover. Look at that.
Oh, dude, it's just, yeah, you know what you're getting when you look. That's dope, but also you know what it's going to be about. Like, you already know. Just look at it. It's going to be about some robot stuff, man. It's going to be cool. I just
happen to be in the Dark Horse section over here.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Like, if you're watching on Facebook and you don't know Will, you can mention a title or a thing, and normally he's like, "Yeah, I got it right here," and I'll just pull it out. It's fantastic. I love it. So
I got it organized.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so
cool. And the artist editions back there, as you see in Frega's office.
Yeah, so jealous. Yeah, I have like three or four artist editions of stuff, but I want to get more, but they're pretty pricey at times. And thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. But to kind of finish up, though, what we were talking about before, me and Frega sort of persisted as friends. Obviously, you grow apart. Sometimes you don't talk for a year, and then you come back together. But when you have lifelong friends like that, you can go a decade. But we never got a decade. But in my teens, obviously, I got into girls, and I was doing my own thing, doing sports or whatever, and you don't talk a lot. And then in my 20s, we came right back together and became very close because I could drive, and Plaga will attest to this. Frega essentially became a garage. So Frega would work from home when he was doing his storyboarding after he transitioned from comics, and he would just chill in his garage, and people would just show up, and it became a situation of like, who's going to show up at Frega's today? And
that's really funny.
And Frega had an open door where he would be chilling, drawing in his garage, doing his storyboards, and Plaga would show up, Yaki would show up, I'd drive up on, and we just kick it all day, and people would show up throughout the day, and it kind of turned into like a barbecue sometimes. We just having fun. One day. Dope. if Plago will attest to this, fucking Fergie showed up one day before she was Fergie.
Yeah, because Frege got into the storyboarding, working in music video stuff like that. So yeah, and it's really cool. But yeah, so like you even knew Plagle for a very long time, and that's funny. Like people say small world, and it's really true. Like I met Plagle through Couch Doodles. I didn't know you, but I met Plagle, and then I met you. I already knew Plagle, but you already knew Plagle before me. Like
I've known
such a
Plago 20
weird,
years, more than 20 years.
yes, weird like small world because like I never would have met Plagle if it wasn't for Frege. And you know what I mean? Because I collected comics forever anyways. I was already a fan of Frege. But if I hadn't followed Frege on Instagram and the live feeds, I wouldn't have met Plagle, who I consider one of my best friends right now. And then I wouldn't have met you, close friends. Like, I mean, it's just amazing the way things work. Like all these
And
people
Jason Krager lives very close to Plagle.
So crazy, yeah. And to me, it's surreal because like you kind of grew up with the comic industry, like because you were interning, you knew Frege, you were already knee deep in it.
I worked at the Extreme booth in San Diego the year when Rob's boobed out fucking Captain America was the program cover. That was the program cover.
Right.
I worked in the booth selling Rob's art. He had stacks of his art, and I was just selling. I was taking money for them.
Dude, even though you got like into it pretty early, it still had to be kind of surreal collecting comics as a kid, and then all of a sudden you're like at Rob Liefeld's table selling these things. And yeah, like you said, they're just people, but you're now ingrained in this like weird pop culture thing because it's very niche. It's very like it's a bubble, man. Comics are a bubble. Like even still, like they were back then, they're still a bubble, even with all the movies out. So it kind of had to be a little surreal in a way, like as a, working at these tables. Did you ever look around and be like, wow, this is really cool. I can't believe I'm doing this.
Because I'll tell you this, I am grateful and blessed because my experience cannot be replicated.
Right.
Nobody else could. There's probably 3 other guys that had my experience, and I'm very grateful that I got to live through that era of comic history, be amongst all those momentous events, get to know those people. Frege is a guy that's, this is like I love this man to death. He's my brother. And like, I've had this relationship for 30 years. How many people have a close, nearly blood relationship with somebody for 30 years? And so it transcends comics. It transcends
without a doubt.
What you can do for me. This is my brother.
And like you said, it's a brotherhood. Like I have one friend that I really talk to on a regular basis still. I've known her half my life. Like I'm 44. So I've known her about 22, 23 years.
Yeah.
So like that's a bond that just you can't, like I could go a few weeks without talking to be like we never talked about, like we never separated or anything. And it's not like we hang out every day, but I still, we talk every day. It's just a bond that's always going to be there. And like he's your brother, and that's really dope, man. And it had to be cool because I mean you got into it and you like hounded them. You got it through like the beginning of this stream says, through determination. You know what I mean? You were determined. You were like, I want to do this, but also I really met a cool cat that loves comics and loves art and is actually, fun to be around and actually has an interest in helping me grow as a creator and as an artist, because you are an artist, you're a writer. And people often they think when they think of art, they think visually, and they're not wrong, but they often don't think about like music's an art, writing's an art. It's an art form. It's not easy to do. Not everyone can do it. What got you into writing? Because comics is a visual medium. So did you want to draw at one point, or were you always into writing?
That's kind of a personal journey, like one that doesn't have a lot to do with Frege or anybody else.
No, it doesn't have. This is about you, dude.
I'm unfortunately a product of the Los Angeles school system, and what that means is, and I have immigrant parents, so my first language is Spanish at home, so they didn't really quite understand how bad the school system is. You're just like, cool, there's a public school system, So why I'm saying all that is it was hard for my mom or my dad to see where I was falling behind, right? They were just like, oh, it's official, that they'll handle it,
Right.
And so my sister dropped out in 10th grade. She had better things to do. School was an office for her, to get her messages, do lunch, and check out,
Gotcha.
But for me,
club in some regards.
Yeah, for me though, I was almost functionally illiterate until fairly late in my adolescence.
Oh, wow.
And I was very self-conscious about that. I don't know if it was me or a combination of me and I had very bad teachers. What up, Pedro?
Hey, Pedro.
Um, but the teachers were not helpful, and my mother didn't like that. She put me in another school. She put me in a
Hmm.
Spanish-speaking school, which didn't help, but whatever, it helped me keep my Spanish.
Right.
Um, but what I had to teach myself I had to teach myself how to read. I didn't get good at reading um, until I was about 9, 10. And then it
Oh,
was through
wow.
comics. It was
Right. Oh, see,
looking at
there you
visuals
go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
because I could look at the visuals.
Right.
Um, and from then on, I became a voracious reader, and I never stopped reading. Once I
Nice.
learned how to do it, I was always reading,
Right.
and because of that, because of that, I was very self conscious about my intelligence because of this reading problem I had. So wherever I went, I always assumed I was the dumbest one in the room and I had to work 10 times harder.
Hmm. Okay.
So
Ooh.
because of that, my academics was always stellar, but I never thought about it that way. It was more like just I'm the dumb one and I have to do more than these kids who it's so easy for them. Turns
And
out most of the kids are stupid, and I'm.
I was gonna say that's funny because, and like I said earlier, your vernacular is outstanding. Like, I mean, it's
Mhm.
I have a nickel education, you have a dime store, vernacular. It's like I'm sometimes like I know what you're saying, but sometimes it's like I don't know what that word is, but I know the context around it. So like you're a very intelligent man, and you got it that way because of your addiction after learning how to read. Like, and it was an addiction to you. Like,
Yeah,
and that's a healthy addiction.
my degree's in classics, for God's sake. You
Yeah.
know, so and it's Latin. So
Yeah, and we won't get into the whole like talking about history and stuff because we'll be here for hours on end. With you. And I love history. I told this a bunch of times. I love history. I love hearing about it. I love learning it. I don't absorb it. It doesn't stay, even though I like it. It's the weirdest thing on the planet,
Mhm.
dude. But yeah, so that's cool. So you like Luke was that way. Luke learned how to read through comic books.
mhm.
And I mean that's a really interesting way that.
And movies too. And
eh,
so
yeah.
I became obsessed also with the idea that there's a writer to movies, there's a director to movies, there's a writer and a director. That's interesting. There's a vision,
Mm,
and that's right at the time Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez, the independent zeitgeist was happening at the time, that early '90s. Remember
yep.
the kind of independent new wave,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so
Reservoir Dogs, Clerks, stuff like that. Yeah.
I saw Reservoir Dogs at 12, 13. I wrote a bunch
Jeez,
of
dude.
scripts like Quentin Tarantino. I wanted to write like that.
Nice.
That
Hey,
the way
Shelby.
put two people in a room, have them talk, and have
Right.
some sort of surprise at the end. I wrote like
Mhm.
20-page scripts, like imitating Quentin Tarantino, essentially.
Nice.
So I had wrote hundreds of them, but they're all garbage. But I wrote them.
Well, you're young. What do you want? I mean, dude, the art that I drew when I was like 12, 13, garbage, man. I mean, dude, the art I drew like 5 years ago, I consider garbage almost. Well, not really. There's some of it's actually really good. But either which
I
way.
I think you're a genius, but that's just me.
Oh, no, thank you. You're too kind. But, and we can talk about me all day and I love it. But, no, just kidding, dude. No, and like I said, like you had an intellect. Did you like you thought you didn't have is what I'm kind of getting. Like you
I
Mhm.
thought you
guess
were the dumbest kid in the room when you're actually like one of the more higher intellectual ones. Like and you didn't even realize it. When did you learn to kind of tap into it and like use it to your
I
advantage
I,
in
I
a
never did.
written way? Oh, you
I never
never
did.
did because you're right. I mean, you obviously do it. Maybe it's unconscious at this point.
I no. I excel through sheer competition that isn't there half the time,
Mm,
because I
okay.
feel like
Well, there you
again
go.
that everyone's already way ahead of me, and I've got to run. It's you know what I always liken it to. Do you remember Kingpin when he was talking about you English with your 10 frames?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I kind of think of it that way. It's like, well, everything you do, we got to do twice as hard, And I kind of think of it that way. Like, even when I was in college, I was like, okay, I've got to work 10 times harder than everybody, and it's not even conscious. It's back here. It's like all these guys are smarter than me and gals are smarter than me. I've got to if I want that 1% A, I've got to work really hard and
and see,
memorize everything.
that's awesome, and that's a competitive nature. Like that is, you're like these guys, like you view them as such, and they're not. But these guys are better than me. I got to do better to get better than them, or play on equal field. That's a competitive nature. A competitive nature is very healthy. Like I mean, and yes, you shouldn't compare yourself to other people. I mean, but you should at the same time, because like I compare myself to like Plagle, Krager, Luke, all these guys who are constantly improving, constantly getting better, and are just, to me, better artists. So I have to do better. I have to make it better. I have to create better stuff. To me, that strives people forward. That improves you as an individual and as a human
Mhm.
being, if you use it in a positive way. Like, it could be deconstructive as well, and you could just think these people are better than me. Then what's the point in me trying? So, but
Yeah, well,
competition is good. It's healthy.
what's helpful in this comics medium, though, is that it is a visual medium. It's an artist medium. Let's face it. Us
Well, it
writers are
is.
kind of like
But
a
I
dime a
mean,
dozen.
let me defend it real quick though. That yeah, it's a visual nature, and you can have a dope visually looking comic, but if you don't have a great story, they're not going to come back for the second issue usually. So yes, it is visually that gets them in the seats. The writing keeps them there. Like, if you go to a movie and the cinematography is fantastic, you might walk out because the story sucks.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it is. But sorry to interrupt, but I had to get that
Was
out
Angela
there.
saying something?
No, I'm drinking.
Oh, okay. I thought you were adding something. I just want to make sure you got your
Yeah, I'm
She,
trying not
she's
to like
allowed to
make
say
the
whatever she
thirsty
wants.
sound.
Mm.
Anyway,
But
well,
yeah, no, it is a visual medium. You're not wrong. It is.
what's helpful, what helped me a lot is that in my field of study, which is history, philosophy, and then my degrees in classics
hmm.
and Latin, which requires not only reading language, understanding it, but deconstructing it. Because when you're
Right.
learning Latin, you're learning, for example, what a decline language is, how to decline different verbs and different nouns, what a
Mm-hmm.
gerundive is, what the subjunctive is. Who the hell knows what a subjunctive is,
I
right? So
don't.
you start to learn the different parts of language.
Uh-huh.
But in the process of doing that, you're not just reading mediocre writers, you're reading the best writers,
Right.
but they may not be the greatest writer. Like Aristotle's a dry writer, right? It is
Mm-hmm.
dry,
Oh yeah, dude.
but
People.
it's
There's a reason why people can't read it, is because it's just
right.
it doesn't. Yeah.
It's access to a great mind.
Yo, what's up, Clayton?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Dan Lawless is in the house.
Oh, what's up, Lawless? Good to see you, man.
Yeah, yeah. He's saying
No.
I've been drawing professionally for 36 years and I never stopped pushing myself to improve. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was Clayton because it says how to draw, so I
Oh,
automatically assumed it was
I thought
Clayton.
it was too. I was going to say, hey, Hannibal, what's up?
No. Yeah, Lawless has it too. No, hey, dude. Let me get this out of the way, because I'm not sucking up, but his channel's very underrated. Everybody go subscribe to Dan Lawless. He's got great
Yeah.
tutorials. He does some great coloring stuff. I don't know how I have more subscribers than Dan Lawless. I'm just saying that. Everyone go sub
Wow.
to him, please. It's great content. But yeah, so you like, dude, I like Tolstoy. I like Dostoevsky.
Mhm.
I like these writers, and like you said though, they're very dry. Not so
Well, here's the
Aristotle,
thing.
yes,
But here's
very dry. Yeah.
here's the thing, though, and they teach you how to not be a pretentious writer. What I mean by that is you'll notice something about all these great minds and writers is their thinking is complex, but their writing is actually very clear most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like who's a good example? Like C.S. Lewis is a good example of that, where you've got a astronomical mind, but his writing is clear, it's beautiful, and it's not even terse. How should I say it? It's lacking any extreme ornamentation, so you don't go,
Mm-hmm.
what a special boy. It's almost
Right.
frank,
Mm-hmm.
And then
Oh yeah.
you read enough of that stuff, and you start to assimilate what is a good writer, what is interesting to read. And one thing I always wanted to do in my stuff is, if the story sucks, at least it wasn't a pain in the ass to read.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. It's not a slog. It's not something that's just like, oh, when is this over? Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good point. And like, I don't have like that level of an education that you got, which you can use it to your advantage, because you can dissect it. You can you can manipulate things and make it be like, okay, this is going to be as creative as I could possibly get it without too much fluff, or I can fluff it all up if I want. But I kind of learned through like I really got attached to, and like Sin City, Dark Knight, like that kind of writing is just like, I love the writing that goes with the visual in that regard, because even though you see what's going on, but he's kind of writing about like senses and like deeper thoughts, but also that pertain to like when he's walking, like my footsteps creak along the floor. It's like, well, you see him walking, but you hear him describing in more detail like the atmosphere around it. I just love that, and I don't know if it's too wordy for some people or what, but I kind of got that with a lot of other like books that I've read as well. They're like even like Dragonlance stuff like that, where they would get more creative and just have more adjectives and verbs and all this other stuff, and they would toss them in. I'm like, you can do it with comics too without being overly wordy. Like it's possible. So what made you then want to? Because like you read all these like deep thought like people. You read creative things too, but what made you want to get then into writing the comic books? And have you ever thought about writing novels?
You know what? I mostly wanted to just write academic papers because that's what I enjoy
Oh
writing.
wow.
Was
Okay.
history, commentaries on history, philosophy papers, religion, papers about Christianity mostly because I'm a Christian and I enjoy reading, whether it's Augustine or St. Thomas Aquinas and just kind of meditating on those because it is part of my journey outside of this whole thing is
Right.
studying the church fathers. But comics came along like lightning out of a blue sky. Really, I moved up here from LA to Pacific Northwest, didn't have much going on. I was feeling a little down and blue. I'd gotten out of a long relationship, and I was kind of feeling kind of aimless. And I called Frege, and I was kind of unloading on him. And he was like, "Hey, man, I got an idea." I'm like, "What?" "I'm thinking about bringing back Black Flag. Do you want to come in on it and help me with it?" And I said, "Sure." And for the next year, all we did was talk about Black Flag. And this is before the Indiegogo stuff. We didn't know how we were going to do it. He just wanted to do it and wanted me to work
Wow.
on it with him. So I
didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, and I was taking his outline. I was trying to put it into something coherent for him because he just it's all there in his outline. He spat it all out. We just by the way, Henry, I'm in Eugene kind of area in the environs around Eugene.
Yay, P&W in the house. Sorry.
Oh, baby's crying.
Yep.
Let me turn her. She'll go back to sleep.
Give her a second. I was gonna say if you gotta go.
Yeah, we got 20 more minutes, but she's changing positions.
Okay. Okay.
But
so Black Flag, you started before the Indiegogo. You're trying to collect his thoughts that he has scattered because I've seen his stuff. So yeah.
And then I was writing other stuff. He said I want to do a Black Flag Zero, so I was writing that. And then one day I think he wasn't we didn't plan on doing it during that time during the pandemic. He just randomly hit me up one morning and said, "You know what? I've made this tweet. It seems like a good time." And it was around the time when everybody's trying to get him into Comicsgate. And he said, "I think I'm just gonna fucking do it. Just pull the trigger."
Right.
And I'm like, okay. And we had that. Remember, we had that launch stream.
Yep.
I remember it well. What happened was we thought we were. You know how much money we thought we were gonna make?
Well, I remember, but go ahead and tell everybody.
We thought at this point, say for the sake of argument, it was 2 years. We thought it was gonna be 30 grand at the most. At the most.
It's so wild, dude.
And when it blew past that, dude, we could not believe
out the gate. It blew past that.
Yeah, within actually an hour, it blew past that.
Yep.
Wow.
We couldn't believe it. Could not believe it.
Yeah. Dude, the fans are there and they love Frege's stuff. Like you're. I don't want to I'm trying not to focus on Frege because we're promoting like your stuff. You working with him on Black Flag. But I mean, you're connected. Like, I mean, you're working on the same project. So, I mean, you kind of like do.
Well, I'll say this. This is a good jump off point for that because it helps explain the next part, which is because Frege had various health issues. He had a lot of health issues, a lot of financial commitments, and family commitments. Black Flag got stretched out. So what happened for me is everything I worked on, no one's seen it. And then I did another book with Rob Willis called Dredge, which was his creator-owned book, which is probably never going to see the light of day because he just doesn't have time to do that kind of work. So I did two things that no one's seen, and I'm unhireable because no one's seen my stuff. So that became very frustrating because I'm hanging around with all these creatives. I'm like, hey, what do you have out? Shit you haven't seen. And it drives you nuts. It does.
Right. Yeah.
Because you want people to see the work you've done. So what's happening now is I decided to do my own book under with Frege's
Incredible
help.
Comics.
Yeah, called Meathead. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing that on my own, with a collaborator with Jason Krager,
Hmm.
and what we're doing
cool.
is we're going to do this over the next maybe year, and then announce it for when Black Flag is in people's hands. So whenever it's in Black Flag's people's hands is when I'm going to open that mailing list.
Nice. Yeah,
Um,
that's the way to do it.
and
Yeah.
this one is me going, I'm frustrated that my other stuff isn't out. I'm just going to pay for this myself and put this fucker out. And I have
Right.
one of a genius who's putting all of his heart into it.
Right.
which
Now,
is
are you
Jason
doing?
Krager.
Awesome.
Are you right? Yeah. Oh, dude, Krager's amazing. And now, so are you doing that because you'd rather Black Flag to be fully fulfilled first, or like because you're as a writer, to me it's more feasible for a writer to have more than one campaign out than artists like and not fulfilled one of them. Like artists, to me, I'm a little more. Please finish your one, but a writer can write more books than an artist can draw in one
It's
sitting.
pretty utilitarian, Jason. It's more like
Okay.
I'm putting up all the capital for this, paying
Okay.
Jason, paying the other parts of the team,
Gotcha.
and not paying myself. So I need everything going for me that I possibly can to make sure it's at least a success above a certain number.
Right.
You know, and the best thing I could do is wait till Black Flag's out there. People know my name. Frag is available to help me. You get what I'm saying? Because Frag is
Gotcha,
like,
yeah.
I'm not doing anything until Black Flag's fulfilled.
Yeah.
Oh
we
yeah,
respect
and
that.
everyone knows that, and yeah. So, and speaking of which, because we have limited time left, the campaign you're on right now, yeah, Black Flag. Real quick, is it alright if do you want me to play the trailer, or do you want to skip it? Because I can play the trailer.
Go ahead.
All right, we're gonna play the trailer because it's dope. Anyways, what am
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
I created Black Flag back in 1994. It was pure escapism. I want to draw guys with big guns. I want to draw anime babes, wizards, aliens. Cool, put them all in one book.
Now allow me to reintroduce myself.
Black Flag is literally wish fulfillment. High energy, high octane, 90s style action, relentless, doesn't ask for forgiveness, high bullet count. There hasn't been that in comics in the same way that I'm going to provide it. Sniper decided that he was going to go back into doing what he does best. He went and he took all of his gear, which had this shield on it with his flag, and he blacked out all the flags. He has no allegiance to anybody but himself. They're never sitting around talking in Black Flag issue 1. Ragtag, they're it. Here to save our world. All of them, mythical, magical. And we are gonna see so many bullets, so much action. This thing is certain to blow people's minds. That's basically what Black Flag is all about. Let's go.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
Yeah, it's a fun trailer.
A lot of Shelby Robertson there, especially
Yeah,
that's
dude.
from Black
Hey,
Flag
how's
Zero.
Billy?
Yeah, he did.
yes.
He did that whole Rascal story that was that's prominent in the trailer.
Yeah,
Oh,
which
cool.
is dope. I love Shelby's stuff. He's fantastic too. Everybody go subscribe to American Discord
And
with
I
an
don't know
H.
if you can see it,
Shelby
but right
Covert.
there is
Oh, yeah.
Black Flag #1 cover right there, the triple page.
Ah,
See it?
Oh my
I
goodness.
hate you so much.
There it is.
It's so cool, man. Nice.
Wow.
That's so cool, dude. That's so cool. Yeah. So, like, I know you got Meathead and everything, but right now, Black Flag is the title that's out there that you're on. We got a few minutes here. Let's. You want to give the rundown on what Black Flag is about, without spoiling anything?
It's kind of difficult because what it. Well, I suppose it's what's in the campaign. You know, a legion, independent contracting group of mercenaries, bankrolled by a heiress to the great fortune of.
Hey, Paul.
It basically, she's our Tony Stark, and they face foes above and below, which means these could be of a spiritual dimension, an intergalactic one, or a terrestrial one. But I can't really tell you that much about this one because I'm very much looking forward to it because it's, You guys are going to think you're getting a lot of 90s stuff. And then when you get to that last page, I hope you'll forgive us and go, aha, or what the fuck, which is what the next episode is called.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It is called that. That's pretty funny. I forgot about that.
It comes to the last page, right? It's going to be like, oh, I'm with you, or what?
So this is kind of like a 90s remembrance, but with a little bit of a current day, like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like a little more oomph, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. And what's cool is that if you remember, these 0.5 issues been unlocked, so you get it with every single order.
Yep.
So I know it's late, but you guys, you get 2 great books.
Yeah. And
plus all
like you said, yeah. Oh, dude, a lot of talent in that 0 issue too. So a lot of up and comers. Billy Basco. He's in that. Our good friend Billy.
He did the Bubble and Pop story.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of top tier talent in that 0 issue, up and coming, and also just old school stuff. And didn't Pat Lee do
the cover
0 issue 0.5?
Yeah, cover.
He did the cover. So it that's what I love about this too. It does have that. It's Black Flag is a 90s title. It has that 90s vibe, that 90s feel, but I've seen some of this stuff just based on the updates from Black Flag. The art is insane.
I will say this. Take this analogy with a grain of salt, or comparison rather, with a very big grain of salt. Think of the Prophet stuff that was done a couple of years ago. Remember they had brought in a different team and started at number 25.
Mm-hmm.
Remember they did kind of a European version of Prophet.
Yeah.
Think of that kind of pivot.
Oh wow.
Sort of a pivot like that.
Right. Nice.
But not that. But
So, like I said, this story, like you said, this has that 90s like you love it because of the 90s, but like because of now, like, did you have to, like, when you were writing it or like helping out with the writing and putting everything together, did you kind of have to delve back like into that style, that mindset, or were you able to be like, okay, just jump right into the characters?
What I did was, what I think my biggest contribution was, and I don't think Frege will get mad at me for saying this, is that he didn't have like a universe plan. He just wanted to throw the coolest shit he could into it.
But that sounds like Frege.
Well, what I did was that I went through every word he wrote, and I turned an ant into an anthill, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I gave it a superstructure and said, okay, I'm going to build a world out of what you put there.
Right.
So for example, there's 2 characters in Black.
Oh, did I cut out or did Will?
He did, I think.
He did. Uh-oh.
Okay,
no,
sorry.
There you are. Okay, we're good.
I'll give you just an example of that. For example, in Black Flag number 3, there's an episode or a scene where Geisha is getting some kind of orders. She's in a room with 2 women. One's blue, one's green. They're just her assistants. They're no-name assistants. I made them into characters that have backstories and histories and jobs. And I just and I took a book. Oh, there's a book that we want to do called Landstorm, which is about a war that happens in the Black Flag world. And how Sniper becomes Sniper. And I took that, from 4 pages of Black Flag 0, said what happens on either side of the scene where Sniper gets, betrayed by his mercenary unit. What was going on there?
Mm-hmm.
And I filled it out into a whole story that would have that scene bookended.
Oh, nice, man. Yeah. So, you said issue 3. So how many issues do you guys have planned? Can you say?
No, 4 here, but there was 5 in the original run, and I'm talking about the original
I got you. Okay, I got it.
I was just mining his stuff.
Nice. Okay, I got what you're saying. Because I thought you meant like in issue 3 you had to do this, but you're talking about issue 3 from the original set.
Yeah. And
okay.
What? Sorry.
No. What?
My job is to do what he says, and to take what's there and again just give it an undergirding, not put my bullshit into it.
Well, you're expounding upon what he has and adding like a little more, just a little to it. Like, you know what I mean?
It's kind of like what Alan Moore did for Rob Liefeld. It's already there.
He just
brought his Alan Moore-ness to it.
Right. I mean, I'm not because I don't want people to be like, "Oh, you didn't do it." No, you're writing this, like you're co-writing the book. Like it's not like you're just like, "I exist." You know what I mean? So yeah, you're on the title. So how many issues is it? Are you allowed to say, or
Yeah, 4.
like this?
It's going to be 4 for this one.
4
And the
for
other
this
ones will
one?
come way faster. Don't worry. Like they'll come
Oh,
way faster. He's not even
we're
gonna.
not here to, dude. We're not here to talk about any lateness or anything. I know Frege is going to get this out. I'm not worried about it in the slightest, and I know it's going to be sick. And I backed pretty high. I know a lot of people are waiting for it. There's some people that are upset, dude. I look at us with Frog G. Like Inkspot's broke his neck. You know, injured my rotator cuff. Like a lot of stuff happens through life that delays stuff. Like it's like Frege has a full-time job. You have a full-time job. Like life happens. Like like you have a kid. Like you would you have to take care of your tiny human. You know what I mean? So things happen in life that setbacks come to things. So this, like I said, I'm not worried about the lateness, and we're not here to talk about any delays.
He's not gonna. He's not gonna show you anything of Black Flag 2 until it's almost done.
What's up, Vanessa? Yeah. Well, like I said, I've seen like parts of, dude. The detail on these is so insane. It's crazy that he even has the time to do that. And so whenever you get it, then you're kind of putting a little ribbon on top, so to speak. Like it's all there.
With Meathead, I'm not gonna even campaign it until I'm at least half to more than halfway through it,
right?
Art wise,
smart. Yeah, and like I know, like with Black Flag, he's not going to launch book 2 until like it's almost complete, like almost done. Like we all know that. So, and you're attached to Black Flag. Like you're going to be writing all of them. You're going to be doing that. And then you're going to do Meathead. So you got more plans in mind aside from even Meathead, right? Without saying what they are.
Well, remember I was doing another one with Jason Krager called Coliseum. If you remember that, and then
that's right, I do.
That one will require a lot more design and time than Krager had. And this is a period piece. Meathead takes place during the Vietnam War in Vietnam, but not during the Vietnam War. During the Vietnam War in the 1980s Vietnam. It's Vietnam over 20 years. So he's like, that's a period piece. And I love the story. That's easy. Right? Like I've got reference. Coliseum takes place in the future, and he just did not, he thought it would be better to do this first and then do that.
Right.
Because that's more like V for Vendetta, and he's like, I don't know, we need an audience for that one because it's more of a commitment for the reader.
Right. But like you said, you're waiting until Black Flag gets out there because also then people can see what you're fully capable of, what you can do, at least a little sample of what you can do. So like that, Will can actually produce. And
there's another one I'm doing actually. This is kind of like a low key one I'm doing passively because this artist has the time. That's Christian Rossi. I'm talking about. Familiar. He did Ed Gein, Demon Hunter. He works for Peter Semenya.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
And he's doing what I call my emo script. And everybody's got one that they wrote at a period of their life that's more autobiographical than it should be.
What's up, Jeremy Birds?
That one's more of like a Crow type piece, and his art is perfect for that. And he's more like a guy I'm paying over the next year. 2 pages here, 2 pages there, and he has and he can work like that.
Right.
So
yeah. So everybody, Black Flag is still available. Yes, it's late, we know, but you're gonna get it. We're not worried. We're not gonna go over every tier, but just get the featured one. You'll get everything. You don't have to worry about it, or whatever. Go down the tiers yourself, see what you like, and back it. Also, go check out Frog G. Link is somewhere. Inkspot's and me.
I'm sorry, Pedro. I didn't mean to assume such a thing. We've all got one, but you're also a musician, fucker. So yeah, you are kind of emo to a degree.
Dude. Pedro is emo. Check out Frog G. Inkspot's is like 30 plus pages in, so it's almost there. It's almost done. We're going to be late too. Like I said, life happens. Inkspot's has a business. He's got to pay the bills. So, but we're cranking these out. Line art is done for that.
Remember,
Flag.
Inkspot is the most important man in Comicscape because without him piping the shit out of your house, you'd all die of cholera in your studios.
That checks out.
Wow. That just went near and far, and I enjoyed it.
Well, I mean,
anyway.
He is CG's plumber. He cleans out all the feces.
I was going to say, Will is very colorful with his words, so I appreciate that.
So,
it's true.
We're at the top of the... It's true. We're at the top of the hour. And I know you I don't want to intrude on your in case the child wakes up. Angela, do you have any last questions?
Oh, Holiday backed it, so thank you, Holiday.
Hail, thank you,
Thank you,
Holiday.
Holiday.
Appreciate that.
I just thought this was
You
funny.
won't be disappointed.
Vanessa said that Will is the underwire to the Fragga boobies.
What is that?
He's the underwire to the Frega bra.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand that. I was like, what? Oh,
yeah. You're the
She's being
support system, my
colorful with
friend.
language. Anyway,
I was-
and
no,
then,
no, I-
but yeah,
Nice.
okay. So I'm
ahead.
what holds up is the Frega titties. I got it. Like,
yeah. Hey, man, we're in our mid-40s. If we don't work out every day, we're gonna get them. So
But yeah, I would
Angela,
definitely
any
be back
last
in this
questions for Will?
Oh, I'm gonna be backing this book. I just haven't yet. I'm waiting. I actually just yesterday backed Snowman. I've been waiting on that one. So it's just like,
How dare
you know,
you?
these books. Well, you're up and coming. As soon as this book, you know, is on this last,
Last
Touche.
stretch,
week.
I will be in
Touche.
there and I will be
Touche.
backing this book. It looks phenomenal. So I'm excited.
Nice.
All
And
right.
I do have one last question before we end. Will, if you could work with anyone in comics, living or dead, who would it be?
I mean, it's kind of cliche, but I would say like Bernie Wrightson.
Ooh, I love Wrightson, man. I love Wrightson. You know I'm a fan. But it's not cliche, dude. Not you. Actually, I don't think anybody else has said Wrightson yet. So, good answer.
I mean, I
my
have
friend.
the man's art all over my walls. I wish it was real. I mean, I wouldn't be in this house if it was real.
But then you wouldn't have it all over your wall if you know, 'cause
Yeah.
you would have to have sold it. But yeah, everybody, thank you for showing up. Appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. And everybody on Facebook, appreciate you swinging by.
Jason, you're at 799 subscribers. So if anyone's out there has not subscribed to Jason yet, please do.
Yeah. Well, I make the videos.
Mandate
They help.
period.
So yeah, who knows? We might have some of those 799s that are new to the channel watching. Check out Black Flag if you are. So appreciate everybody for swinging by. Will, thank you so much for your time. And stick around. And hail everybody. Appreciate you. Have a great day, everybody. Later.
Thank you,
Thanks
guys.
for
Good night.
joining us.
Good day.